peers, and welcome back to my channel. Whether you're a new viewer or a returning subscriber, I gotta thank all of y'all for clicking on this video. It's greatly appreciated. So it's Choco here, and today we're gonna be discussing lesson 4 of the series Growing Up Answers Young Ones Need, in which we'll be answering the question, how can we control our emotions? As we know, emotions can be both destructive and constructive at the very same time. However, how can we control those emotions so that we can benefit ourselves and those around us? Well, we'll be discussing that today. So now I'll sit back and deliver the reason why you're still watching this video, which is, how can I control my emotions? So, in psychology, an emotion is usually defined as a complex state of feeling that results in physical or psychological changes that influence thoughts and behavior. So in essence, emotions are what drive our thoughts and sometimes our actions, whether for the better or for the worse, which is why it's extremely important that we learn how to control them. Bearing that in mind, let's consider this example. We all know fire, but the question is, would you say that it's entirely good or entirely bad? Well, for that, you would probably say that depends on the circumstances. Because on a cold winter's night, the logs burning in a fireplace can provide much needed warmth and comfort, which is good. However, when the fire is uncontrolled and left on its own, the flames can quickly spread and destroy the entire house down, which is bad. So, in this case, that correlates very much to your emotions, because when they're controlled, they're beneficial, enabling you to develop warm friendships and become more emotionally and physically mature within yourself. However, when they're unrestrained, your emotions can become and be very destructive, not only to you, but also to those around you, even those closest to you. And as a young person, you may at times find yourself overwhelmed by emotions such as anger and sadness. So, how can you control those emotions? Well, today we'll discuss how to do that for each one of them at a time. So the first one we're going to discuss is diffusing anger. While it isn't easy to deal with the hurt and pain that arise when you're a victim of mistreatment, and we've all come to know that at some point, and there may even be sometimes that some in that position may even lose their self-control, which is no small matter, because as we see time and time again, uncontrolled anger can cause you to take actions that you'll later regret, some worse than others. So how then can you control your emotions when you've been mistreated? Well, first things first, analyze the situation squarely and see if you can settle the matter within yourself first. Because if you can do that, you have a less chance of hurting yourself in the process. Remember, in this case, that repaying injury for injury will only make matters worse for you and for the person or the people that are involved as well. Secondly, after thinking about the matter over, you might actually find that you're able to let go of resentment or that hurt that was holding on to you. And once you do that, you will definitely reduce its hold on you and you will feel much more free. But now the question is, what do you do if the hurt just doesn't seem to go away? Well, in this case, it's good to remember that there's always a time to keep quiet and a time to speak. Therefore, there's a time to do everything. So you might ask yourself, Can I actually approach the person who hurt me? However, if it's not advisable, you might benefit in this case by talking to your parents or a mature friend about what happened and about how you feel. Because expressing your emotions can definitely lift a heavy load off you and make you let go of that resentment once again. However, if someone is purposely trying to harass you, you should make a special effort to be kind to that person. That way, sooner or later, they will leave you alone because they'll see that whatever it is they're trying to do to you isn't affecting you, and that will only frustrate them and cause them to leave you alone. So keep trying, but also don't forget to speak about what you feel to your parents or mature friends, because speaking about it makes things 100 times better. Well, all in all, it's important to remember that talking about it is one of the best ways to release such emotions, as bottling up emotions can only make matters worse for yourself. And I definitely talk from experience. Okay, well, now we're going to go into the second part, which is coping with sadness. Now I'll relate the experience of 16-year-old Laura. She says, "Recently I have been moody and overly self-critical. I get no joy out of life, and I cry myself to sleep." Well, like Laura, many young people do feel overwhelmed by the pressures of life. What about you, though? How do you feel? Demands from your parents, friends, and teachers, the physical and emotional changes of puberty, or the feeling that you're a failure because of some minor shortcomings or some minor mistake that you did. Such things, although they may seem very minute to some, may leave us feeling very, very miserable. Well, in this case, one of the best ways to deal with troubled feelings is once again to talk to a parent or a mature friend who is born for times of distress, as it were. Because by doing that, not only can you express how you feel, but you'll be more comfortable doing so. The important thing is to remember that talking about your emotions is never a burden. If anything, it helps you to become more emotionally mature, and the more you do so, the more free you become. Therefore, the happier you become. Above all, if you're sad, please, it's important that you don't neglect talking to others. By that, I don't mean talking your mind to just anybody, but as has been highlighted today, talking to your parents or talking to mature friends. As by doing so, you will feel much more free and much more happy. And that's what you mean. That's what you want. Well, at the end of the day, we have to remember that as talked about at the beginning of this talk, your emotions are like fire. When controlled, they're beneficial, but when unrestrained, they're very destructive. So, all in all, we should all strive, as young ones, to do our best to keep our emotions in check. True, on occasion, or sometimes, you will likely say or do things that you will later regret. But all in all, we have to be patient. You have to be patient. Because in time, you'll learn to control your emotions so that your emotions don't control you. And therefore, you're setting yourself up to become a very responsible, mature, physically and mentally mature adult. So this brings us to the end of today's lesson, which is how can you control your emotions? And I hope that you found this information helpful. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe because it's free. And if you find any information helpful, please don't forget to comment down below and any suggestions you'd like me to go through, which I'd be glad to go over. Now, thank you guys for listening. I hope you'll have a good day and you're keeping well and all your families are keeping well in these difficult times. And I'll see y'all on Friday. Bye.